I stood in the center of a room that smelled of lavender and fresh paint, my expensive heels sinking into a plush, cream-colored carpet that I hadn't bought. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird, so hard that my vision blurred at the edges. In my hand, I clutched a crumpled receipt I had fished out of the pocket of my husband's charcoal gray blazer just 20 minutes ago. The receipt was for a crib, a royal sleigh crib, mahogany finish, price $2,000. But we didn't have a baby. We didn't have plans for a baby. We were past that stage, as Julian loved to tell our friends at dinner parties, swirling his scotch with that charming, lopsided grin that used to make my knees weak. I looked up. There, in the corner of this secret apartment I had just unlocked with a spare key found in his glove compartment, stood the crib. And inside it, sleeping soundly with a thumb tucked into a rosebud mouth, was a baby girl who had Julian's chin, Julian's nose, and, as I leaned closer, shaking so violently I had to grip the railing, I saw she had his eyes, opening slowly to look at me. The front door clicked open behind me. The sound was like a gunshot in the silence. "Honey, I'm home. I brought the..." The voice was Julian's, but the tone, it was warmer, softer, more alive than anything he had said to me in 10 years. I turned around slowly. The color drained from his face so fast, it looked like his skin had turned to ash. He dropped the grocery bags. A jar of pickles shattered, the brine spreading across the floor like dirty water, soaking his shoes. "Serafina?" he whispered, his voice cracking into 1,000 pieces. That was the moment my life ended, and the moment my revenge began. Let me take you back to where the cracks first started to show. It wasn't an explosion. It wasn't a dramatic lipstick stain on a collar or the smell of cheap perfume. No, the destruction of my marriage began with silence. Julian and I had been married for 15 years. We were the golden couple of our social circle in the upscale suburbs. He was a successful architect, the kind who designed glass and steel skylines. And I was Serafina, the supportive wife. The one who managed the investments, organized the charity galas, and kept our sprawling, modernist mansion in pristine condition. We had money, we had respect, but looking back, I realized we had stopped really seeing each other somewhere around year 7. It started on a Tuesday in November. I remember the weather because the rain was relentless, drumming against the floor-to-ceiling windows of our living room with a rhythmic, melancholy persistence. I was sitting on the velvet sofa, reading a book, waiting for Julian to come home from his late meetings. He had been having a lot of late meetings recently. The Skyline Project, he called it. A massive development downtown that required his constant attention. Or so he said. When the heavy oak front door finally opened at 10:30 p.m., a gust of cold, damp air rushed in, chilling my bare ankles. Julian walked in, shaking his umbrella. He looked exhausted, but there was something else in his eyes, a strange, frantic energy that he tried to hide behind a mask of fatigue. "Hello, darling," I said, marking my page and setting the book down. "Did you eat? I saved you some risotto." "I ate at the office," he muttered, not meeting my eyes. He walked straight to the liquor cabinet and poured himself a generous measure of whiskey. The crystal decanter clinked against the glass, a sharp, lonely sound in the quiet house. He smelled of rain and something else, not perfume. It was fainter. It smelled like baby powder and warm milk. A scent so innocent, yet so out of place on a man who spent his day on construction sites and in boardrooms. "You smell nice," I said, testing the waters. "New cologne?" He froze, the glass halfway to his lips. For a split second, I saw panic flare in his pupils. Then the mask slipped back into place. Must be the air freshener in the Uber. It was overpowering. You took an Uber? Where's the Audi? Flat tire, he said quickly. Too quickly. Left it at the garage near the site. I nodded, pretending to accept it, but my stomach twisted. Julian loved that Audi more than he loved most people. He wouldn't just leave it at a random garage. He would have called his specific mechanic. He would have complained to me about the inconvenience for 20 minutes. His nonchalance was wrong. It was a discord in the symphony of our routine. That night, lying in bed next to him, I listened to his breathing. It was shallow, uneven. He wasn't sleeping. He was lying there, staring at the ceiling, just like I was. I reached out to touch his back, seeking some connection, some reassurance. He flinched. It was a tiny movement, a subtle tightening of his muscles, but under my palm, it felt like a rejection screamed through a megaphone. He shifted away, pulling the duvet tighter. Rough day, Sarah. Need sleep. I withdrew my hand, feeling the cold space between us grow into a canyon. 3 days later, the doubt festered. It's like a splinter in your mind. You try to ignore it, but every time you move, it pricks you. I was in Julian's home office, dusting. We had a cleaner, of course, but I like to handle his desk myself. It made me feel involved in his life. I was rearranging his stack of Architectural Digest magazines when his iPad, docked on the side table, lit up with a notification. It wasn't a text. It was a reminder from a shared calendar app, one I didn't share with him. Pediatric app, Luna, 2 p.m. I stared at the screen, the dust cloth hanging limp in my hand. Luna? Who was Luna? My first thought was irrational. Does he have a secret dog? But pediatrician shattered that hope instantly. My heart began to race, a cold sweat breaking out along my hairline. I knew his passcode. It was our anniversary, 1014. I reached out, my finger hovering over the screen. I felt like I was intruding, violating his privacy. He's your husband, a voice in my head argued. If there's nothing to hide, looking won't hurt. I tapped in the code. Incorrect. I frowned. He had used that code for a decade. I tried his birthday. Incorrect. I tried his mother's birthday. Incorrect. iPad is disabled for 1 minute, the screen mocked me. He had changed his password. Recently. I put the iPad back exactly where it was, my hands trembling. Why would he change it? And who was Luna? The name sounded soft, celestial, beautiful. It made me sick. That afternoon, I called my sister, Florence. Florence is the opposite of me. Sharp-tongued, cynical, and divorced 3 times. She knows men better than they know themselves. He's cheating, Florence said flatly, before I had even finished the story about the calendar notification. She was chopping vegetables on the other end of the line. I could hear the aggressive thwack, thwack, thwack of the knife. You don't know that, I protested, though my voice lacked conviction. Maybe it's for a client. Maybe he's helping a colleague. Serafina, wake up, Florence snapped. Men don't put colleagues' kids' doctor appointments in their personal calendars, and they certainly don't change their passcodes unless they have dirty laundry to hide. You need to check the money. The money? Follow the money, Sarah. Always. Affairs are expensive. Secret lives are expensive. If he's hiding a Luna, he's paying for her. I hung up, feeling nauseous. I wanted Florence to be wrong. I wanted to be the crazy, paranoid wife, but the silence in the house felt heavier now, suffocating. I went to my laptop and logged into our joint bank account. Everything looked normal. The mortgage payments, the utility bills, the transfers to savings, it was all pristine. Too pristine. Then I remembered something Julian had asked me to sign 6 months ago, a document for a diversified investment portfolio. He said he was opening a separate account for high-risk trading, something to keep separate from our main assets so we wouldn't risk our retirement. I had trusted him. I signed without reading the fine print. I dug through the filing cabinet in the hallway, tossing papers aside in a frenzy. Insurance policies, deeds, tax returns. There, a sleek black folder. I opened it. The account number was there. I logged into the bank portal, trying to guess the password. It wouldn't be the anniversary. I closed my eyes and thought, if he had a secret life, maybe the password was related to that. I typed Luna 1. Access denied. I tried Luna 2023. Access denied. I took a deep breath. I clicked Forgot Password. It asked for the answer to a security question. What is your favorite city? Julian's favorite city had always been Rome. We honeymooned there. I typed Rome. Incorrect. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen. What city? Where had he been traveling lately? He went to Chicago a lot. I typed Chicago. Incorrect. I sat back, defeated. Then a memory surfaced. Last month, he had been watching a documentary about the coast of Spain. He kept talking about how beautiful Valencia was. He said he wanted to retire there. I typed Valencia. Reset link sent to email j.thorn.arch at. I had access to his email. It was logged in on the desktop computer in the study. I ran to the computer, my heart pounding so hard I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. I opened his email. The reset link was there. I clicked it, changed the password to something simple, and logged in. The screen refreshed, displaying the dashboard of the investment account. I gasped. The sound was involuntary, a sharp intake of air that burned my throat. The balance was nearly zero. But the transaction history? It was a scroll of horror. Tiny Toes Boutique, $450. Starlight Pediatrics, $200. Willow Creek Realty, monthly rent, $3,500. Grocery Mart, $300. Tiffany & Co., $1,200. I hadn't received any jewelry. And the transfers. Massive transfers of cash coming in from my inheritance trust fund, which Julian managed as my trustee, and going out to this account, then disappearing into cash withdrawals or payments for a life I knew nothing about. He wasn't just cheating on me, he was stealing from me to fund it. I sat there for an hour, frozen. The sun went down, casting long, menacing shadows across the room. I didn't turn on the lights. I felt cold, so incredibly cold. The man I had shared my bed with for 15 years, the man I had nursed through the flu, the man I had supported when his firm almost went under. He was a stranger, a thief. But I couldn't confront him yet. Florence's voice echoed in my head. Don't scream, don't cry, get evidence, destroy him. The pursuit. The next morning, Julian was his usual self. He whistled as he tied his tie, a silk one I had bought him for Christmas. Big day today, he said, checking his reflection. Site inspection in the North District. Might be late. The North District? I asked, sipping my coffee to hide the trembling of my lips. That's far. Be careful. Always, darling. He kissed the top of my head. His lips felt like a brand of betrayal. As soon as his Audi pulled out of the driveway, I was in my car. I didn't have a tracker on his car, a mistake I now regretted, but I knew the Willow Creek Realty charge on the statement. I had Googled it. It was a property management firm for a specific luxury complex in a suburb called Oak Haven, about 40 minutes north. I drove. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. The radio was off. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the chaotic swirling of my thoughts. Who is she? Is she younger? Is she prettier? Does he love her? The questions were torture. Oak Haven was a beautiful, leafy suburb, the kind of place with white picket fences and manicured lawns. It was sickeningly wholesome. I pulled up my car a block away from the address listed on the rental agreement I had found in his digital trash bin. He was sloppy, thank God. I pulled up my hood and walked. The house was number 42, a charming 2-story cottage with ivy climbing the walls. A tricycle sat on the front porch, a bright red tricycle. I hid behind a large oak tree across the street, feeling ridiculous. I was a 40-year-old woman, wearing a trench coat, spying on a house like a character in a bad noir movie, but I couldn't look away. At 10 a.m., the front door opened. Julian walked out. He wasn't wearing his blazer. He was wearing a casual sweater, one I had never seen before. He was holding a coffee mug. And then she came out. She wasn't what I expected. She wasn't a 20-year-old model. She looked normal. She had dark, curly hair tied up in a messy bun. She wore yoga pants and an oversized t-shirt. She looked tired, but happy. She looked like a mother. She walked up to Julian, fixed his collar, and kissed him. It wasn't a quick peck. It was intimate, familiar. It was the kiss of a wife. Then a toddler waddled out, a little girl, maybe 2 years old, Luna. Julian scooped her up, tossing her into the air. The sound of her squeal drifted across the street, piercing my heart like a dagger. He laughed, that deep belly laugh that I hadn't heard in years. He looked younger, lighter. I slid down the trunk of the tree, sitting in the dirt, tears streaming down my face. I covered my mouth to stop the sob that was clawing its way up my throat. He had a whole other family, a wife, a child, a home, and he had built it all on my money. The twist. I stayed there for hours, watching. I needed to know everything. At around noon, Julian left in his Audi. The woman, I later learned her name was Genevieve, stayed home with the child. I waited until Julian had been gone for 30 minutes. Then I did something reckless. I walked up to the front door and rang the bell. My plan? I didn't have one. Maybe I just wanted to see her eyes when I told her. Maybe I wanted to scream. The door opened. Genevieve stood there, a toddler on her hip. She looked at me with polite confusion. "Yes? Can I help you?" She had kind eyes. That was the worst part. She didn't look like a homewrecker. "Hi," I managed, my voice trembling. I think I'm lost. My car broke down a few streets over and my phone is dead. Could I possibly use your charger?" It was a weak lie, but Genevieve smiled. "Oh, of course. That's awful. Come in, come in." She ushered me into my husband's other life. The hallway was filled with photos. Photos of Julian and Genevieve in Paris, photos of them at the beach. Photos of the baby's birth. Julian cutting the cord, Julian holding the newborn. "I'm Genevieve," she said, leading me to the kitchen, "and this is Luna." "I'm Vanessa," I lied. I couldn't give my real name. Not yet. "Nice to meet you, Vanessa. Coffee? Please." As she busied herself with the coffee machine, I looked around. The house was cozy. It was everything our cold, sterile mansion wasn't. It was full of life. "Your husband must be handy," I said, gesturing to a newly installed shelf. I saw the tools by the door. "Oh, Julian?" she beamed. "He's wonderful. He works so hard. He's an architect, travels a lot for international projects. He's actually in Chicago right now for the week." I froze. "Chicago?" "Yes, poor thing. He left this morning. He hates being away from Luna, but," she sighed, "he's doing it for us. He wants to secure our future." My blood ran cold. Julian wasn't in Chicago. He had left here 30 minutes ago to go to a site inspection near our actual home. "He sounds dedicated," I said, gripping the countertop. "He is. He's had a hard life, Genevieve continued, pouring the coffee. His first wife, it was tragic. I felt the room spin. His first wife? Genevieve nodded solemnly. She died in a car accident 5 years ago. He was devastated. He told me he never thought he'd love again until he met me. He still gets sad around the anniversary of her death. I set my cup down. It clattered loudly. I was dead. According to Julian, I was dead. That was the moment the sadness evaporated. The grief that had been weighing me down vanished, replaced by a white-hot, searing rage. He hadn't just cheated. He hadn't just stolen. He had erased me. To this woman, to this child, I was a ghost story. A tragedy used to garner sympathy. "Are you okay?" Genevieve asked, concerned. "You look pale." I stood up. I realized I'm late. I have to go. Thank you for the coffee. I practically ran out of the house. I needed air. I needed to scream. I needed a lawyer. The setup. I didn't go home immediately. I went to Florence's. When I told her the dead wife story, she didn't say "I told you so." She just poured me a large glass of wine and handed me a notepad. "Okay," she said, her eyes dangerous. "This is war. He wants you dead? Fine. Let's show him what a ghost can do." We spent the next 2 weeks planning. It was excruciating. I had to go home every night and play the part of the oblivious wife. I had to let him kiss me. I had to listen to his lies about the Chicago project, which was actually him spending days at Genevieve's. I hired a private investigator, a man named Mr. Sterling who smelled of stale tobacco, but was a genius with a camera. He got everything. Photos of them kissing, copies of the fake marriage certificate. He had married her in a different state using a slightly altered ID. Proof of the funds transfers. I also went to my lawyer. We drafted documents to freeze the assets, but I told him to wait. I wanted the timing to be perfect. The perfect time was Julian's 45th birthday party. I was hosting it, a lavish dinner party at our mansion. All his business partners were coming, his boss, our friends, and I sent a special invitation to Genevieve. I created a fake email address from Julian's assistant. I wrote to Genevieve saying that Julian wanted to surprise her, that he wanted her to come to a gala where he was receiving an award, and that he was finally ready to introduce her to his colleagues. I sent a car service to pick her up. It was cruel to her, I knew that. She was innocent in this, but she was the smoking gun. I needed her to walk into that room to shatter his world completely. The dinner party. The night of the party, the house looked magnificent. Chandeliers sparkled, champagne flowed. I wore a red dress, a color I never wore. Julian looked at me with appreciation. "You look stunning, Sarah," he said, adjusting his cufflinks. "Red suits you." "It's the color of reckoning," I said with a smile. "What?" "Nothing, darling. Just happy." We sat down to dinner. There were 20 guests at the long mahogany table. Julian was at the head, I was at the foot. He was in the middle of a speech, holding his wine glass up. "To success," he beamed, his face flushed with wine and ego, "and to stability, to the things that ground us." The doorbell rang. The maid opened it. "I have a guest for Mr. Thorne," the maid announced. "I'm not expecting anyone." And then Genevieve walked in. She looked beautiful. She was wearing a silver gown I had anonymously sent her. She looked nervous, clutching her purse. She scanned the room, looking for Julian. When her eyes landed on him, her face lit up. "Julian, darling!" The room went silent. Forks paused halfway to mouths. Julian dropped his glass. It shattered on the floor, red wine splashing onto his trousers like blood. He looked like he had seen a phantom. "Genevieve?" he croaked. "Surprise," she said, walking towards him, oblivious to the tension. Your assistant sent the car. I'm so proud of you." She reached him and threw her arms around his neck. He stood there, rigid, his eyes darting frantically to me. I stood up slowly. I tapped my glass with a spoon. Ding, ding, ding. "Everyone," I said, my voice steady and clear, "I'd like to introduce you to Julian's other wife, Genevieve." A collective gasp went through the room. Genevieve pulled back, confused. She looked at me, then at Julian. "Other wife?" She laughed nervously. "Julian, who is this woman? Is this a joke?" Julian found his voice. "Genevieve, wait, I can explain." "No need to explain, darling," I interrupted, walking down the length of the table. "Genevieve, my name is Serafina Thorne. I am Julian's wife of 15 years. And according to him, I died in a car crash 5 years ago." Genevieve's face crumbled. She looked at Julian with horror. "Julian, is that true? You showed me her grave." "He showed you a grave?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "That's dedication." "Serafina, stop!" Julian shouted, sweat pouring down his face. "Not here. Can we talk in private?" "Private?" I laughed. It was a cold, sharp sound. "Like the private account you used to drain my inheritance? Like the private house in Oakhaven you bought with my money?" I pulled a remote control from my pocket and pointed it at the wall where a projector was set up for a slideshow of memories. Click. The screen lit up, not with photos of Julian's childhood, but with bank statements, huge, blown-up images of withdrawals, then photos of him with Genevieve, photos of the fake marriage license, photos of the baby. "This is Julian's life," I narrated for the stunned guests, "funded by fraud, built on lies, and tonight it all comes crashing down." Julian lunged for me. "Turn it off!" His business partner, a large man named Robert, stood up and blocked him. "Sit down, Julian." Genevieve was sobbing now, backing away from him. "You have a wife? You stole her money? Who are you?" "Jen, please, let me explain. I did it for us," Julian pleaded, reaching for her. "Don't touch me," she screamed. "You lied to me. My whole life is a lie." I looked at Julian. He was broken. The charm was gone. The arrogance was gone. He was just a small, pathetic man standing in a puddle of wine. "The police are on their way," I said calmly. "I've filed charges for embezzlement, fraud, and identity theft, and my lawyer has already frozen the assets. You don't have a penny, Julian. The house in Oakhaven, it's in my name now, since my money bought it." Julian looked at me with pure hatred. "You bitch, you planned this." "Yes," I said, leaning in close so only he could hear. "I learned from the best. You killed me in your stories, Julian. I'm just returning the favor in real life." The aftermath. The police arrived 10 minutes later. They led him out in handcuffs in front of our neighbors, his boss, and his weeping second wife. The months that followed were messy. The trial was sensational. The architect with 2 lives was headline news. I didn't hate Genevieve. Once the shock wore off, I realized she was as much a victim as I was. We met once at a coffee shop without lawyers. She looked tired. Luna was with her. "I didn't know," she said quietly. "I swear, Serafina." "I know," I said. I slid an envelope across the table. "What is this?" "The deed to the cottage in Oakhaven," I said. "I bought it legally from the bank after they seized his assets. It's yours, for Luna. She shouldn't suffer because her father is a monster." Genevieve started to cry. "Why?" "Because," I said, standing up, "he took everything from us. I'm taking back my humanity." Julian is in prison now. He got 8 years for the financial crimes. I visited him once. He looked old, gray. Was it worth it? He asked me through the glass. The revenge? I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized I felt nothing. No love, no hate, just indifference. It wasn't revenge, Julian, I said, picking up my purse. It was just a correction. You tried to write me out of the story. I just took back the pen. I walked out of that prison and took a deep breath of fresh air. The sun was shining. For the first time in 15 years, I felt completely, utterly free. We often think we know the people we sleep next to. We think we know their hearts. But sometimes we are in love with a reflection, a mirage. If you ever feel that tiny prick of doubt, that whisper in your gut telling you something is wrong, listen to it. Don't ignore the silence. Don't ignore the locked phones. Don't ignore your intuition. It's the only thing that will save you when the world crumbles. Thank you for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to tell, but if it helps just one woman open her eyes, then it was worth it. Please, if this story touched you, hit that like button. It helps more people find this channel. Subscribe so you don't miss the next confession, and turn on the bell notification. And I have a question for you. If you found out your partner had a second family, would you have exposed them publicly like I did? Or would you have walked away quietly? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one.